Discuss how Oscar Wilde uses satire in The Importance of Being Earnest to critique the Victorian society, or how Wilde exposes the hypocrisies and absurdities of the upper class and social conventions of the era in the play. Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest is a masterful satirical comedy that exposes the hypocrisies and absurdities of late Victorian society, written during an era preoccupied with appearances, earnestness, and adherence to rigid social codes. Wilde uses the play to lampoon the upper class and their values. Subtitled A Trivial Comedy for Serious People, the play uses farce, wit, and irony to question what the Victorians considered important and genuine. Satire is a literary device that uses humor, irony, exaggeration, or ridicule to expose and criticize prevailing immorality or foolishness. The three primary types are Horatian satire, juvenile satire, and Menipin satire. While plays primarily uses the Horatian satire, as it mocks but does not fervently condemn, although sharp moments verge on Juvenalian as well. From the opening, Wilde establishes the absurd qualities of Victorian life. Algernon and Jack are introduced both living double lives to escape oppressive social obligations. The very premise satirizes Victorian duplicity. The truth is rarely pure and never simple. You can just go through the notes. From the importance of being earnest, we have the significance of the dual identities and deception in the play. How do Jack and Algernon's alter egos reflect the conflict between personal desires and societal expectations? Or what does Wilde suggest about the nature of identity and authenticity in Victorian England? Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest thrives on the comedic yet sharp exploration of dual identities and deception. In late Victorian England, a period obsessed with property, reputation, and societal and strict social codes, Wilde deftly uses alter egos to critique the rift between personal yearnings and the pressures of societal expectations. His protagonists, Jack Worthing and Algernon Moncrief, utilize invented personas to navigate and subvert the rigid moral landscape of their world. At its core, the play revolves around the artifice of identity. One has to adapt a very high moral tone on all subjects. It's one of the things that makes marriage so uninteresting. The characters' alter egos, Jack as Ernest in the city, Algernon's invented invalid friend Bunbury, are not just comic devices but coping mechanisms for evading suffocating social norms. This duality dramatizes the conflict between private desires and public duties. Jack Worthing embodies the struggle for authenticity. In the country, he is Jack, guardian to Cecily and a model of responsibility. In London, however, he adopts the identity of Ernest, a libertine bachelor. This split is not merely for pleasure but to manage the demands of two different worlds. When one is in town, one amuses oneself. When one is in the country, one amuses other people. This admission exposes the hypocrisy required by Victorian respectability. Public virtue hides private indulgence. Then we have the portrayal of marriage in The Importance of Being Earnest, or how marriage is depicted as a social contract rather than a romantic union. Consider the motivations of Lady Bracknell, Gwendolen, and Cecily in your answer. In The Importance of Being Earnest, Oscar Wilde satirizes the Victorian attitudes towards marriages by depicting it primarily as a social contract rather than a romantic union. During the late 19th century, marriage was deeply intertwined with class, wealth, and social status, often serving to consolidate wealth and power rather than to celebrate love or personal compatibility. Wilde brilliantly exposes the transactional nature of marriage through his characters and dialogues, highlighting the superficiality, absurdity, and hypocrisy underlying Victorian matrimonial conventions. Wilde's play portrays marriage as pragmatic contract chiefly concerned with social standing and economic security. Romantic love is either absent or secondary to maintaining appearances and navigating social expectations. This theme emerges through the views and motivations of key characters such as Lady Bracknell, Gwendolen, and Cecily. Lady Bracknell epitomizes Victorian pragmatism about marriage. She treats matrimony as a business transaction defined by status, wealth, and lineage. Her interrogation of Jack Worthing, focused on his unknown parentage and financial prospects, satirizes the mercenary attitudes towards marriage prevalent in the upper class. She bluntly dismisses Jack for being an orphan, illustrating how social origins eclipse personal merit or affection in marriage consideration. To lose one parent may be regarded as a misfortune. To lose both looks like carelessness. Her approval of Jack only after uncovering Cecily's considerable fortune further reveals the importance of financial alliances in marriage. Then you have the significance of the title, the importance of being earnest, or how does Wilde play with the pun in the title, or about the dual meanings of the word, and what does this reveal about the character's values and the play's central message. The title of Oscar Wilde's Importance of Being Earnest is a brilliant pun that encapsulates the central themes of the play. Wilde plays on the dual meanings of the word earnest as both a proper name, earnest, and the adjective meaning being sincere, honest, and serious. The pun foregrounds the tension between appearance and reality, sincerity and superficiality, which runs throughout the entire play. By focusing on this linguistic double, Wilde not only sets the tone for satirical comedy but also critiques Victorian social values regarding identity, morality, and seriousness. Then we have analyzed the role of class in the play, focusing on Lady Bracknell's worldview and the obstacles faced by Jack and Algernon. How does Wilde use class distinctions to derive the plot and satirize social mobility? Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest richly satirizes the rigid and often absurd class distinctions of Victorian England. Central to the play's social critique is how class governs relationships, marriage prospects, and identity. Lady Bracknell, the embodiment of aristocratic values, upholds the rigid social hierarchy and acts as the gatekeeper of class respectability. The obstacles faced by Jack and Algernon highlight the social tensions and contradictions surrounding class and mobility. Wilde uses these class distinctions not only to drive the plot's comedic complications but to expose the narrow mindedness, hypocrisy, and self interest underpinning Victorian social structures. So you can just go through. I think these are all important questions from The Importance of Being Earnest.